This is not a crash video. This is what actually broke on my CFMOTO 450mt after real off-road riding, and what didn't. I put around 7,000 kilometers on this bike so far, riding gravel, forest trails and technical off-road. Not babying it, but not abusing it either. And because this bike is still fairly new, a lot of people keep asking the same question. What actually fails when you ride it like this? Quick background. I bought this bike brand new in May 2025. I'm 52 and this is my first adventure bike. I rode motocross and enduro when I was younger, owned road bikes later on, then took a 25-year break before coming back with the 450mt. Now the focus is off-road, building a capable adventure bike and riding events like Romaniacs. So let's check what actually broke during the first 7,000 kilometers. And I'm not starting with the obvious stuff. The brake pedal bent after catching a rock. I was able to bend it back, but it took a vise, a heat gun and a large pipe wrench to get it back in an almost original shape. The outer tip of the pedal, where you place your foot, is spring-loaded. It's designed to fold back if it hits a rock or a log. Unfortunately, that was not enough in my case. I do have an upgraded pedal tip that I'll be installing next. It's smaller, more tapered, which should reduce the chance of catching rocks or obstacle. I'm looking forward to testing it. And a big thanks to Andrew Wiley for sharing this high-end part. Another issue showed up on the exhaust. This didn't happen in a crash either. It happened while riding over a large log or rock, while the bike ended up resting on it. The header pipe between the catalytic converter area and the slip-on connection got crushed. The skid plate doesn't extend this far back, so the load transfers directly into the linkage area and this section of the exhaust. The bike still runs fine, no leaks, but maybe a slight power loss. But if you ride this kind of terrain, protection back here really matters. So far, I haven't found any skid plate that actually protect this part of the exhaust. If you see a solution for this, please let me know in the comments below. Now, moving on to something more expected, the skid plate. And this ties directly into the down tubes. This happened during slow technical off-road riding, passing over multiple logs and larger rocks. Not crashing, but the bike riding up onto obstacles. The stock skid plate is made of very thin sheet metal. It works fine for smaller rocks, gravel, but it's not designed to protect against logs or solid impacts. After several log crossing, the skid plate became bent and twisted. It didn't break, but it clearly lost its shape and protection level. Because the plate isn't stiff enough, the impact forces don't spread out. Instead, they transfer straight into the down tubes. As a result, the down tubes started to bend as well. And once that happened, the mounting points were no longer aligned. At that point, it was impossible to install the new skid plate properly, because the bolt holes was no longer lined up. So the lesson here is important. If you plan to ride enduro-style terrain or single track, the stock skid plate simply isn't enough. The correct solution is a proper skid plate, upgrade early on. A solid 4mm skid plate spreads the load and ties the whole structure together. With a strong skid plate in place, the down tubes are much more supported, and the entire setup becomes more robust. The down tubes themselves are a bit too flexible to handle direct impacts on their own. But combined with a proper skid plate, the system works as intended. So the takeaway here is simple. Upgrade the skid plate before the down tubes get bent, not after. The handguards took a beating as well, mostly from slow speed drops and tight trails with trees. The stock handguards are made of plastic and have no metal reinforcement. They are designed to protect your hands from wind, bugs and small stones thrown up by another rider, not repeated off-road impacts. This wasn't ride ending, but proper handguards are a must if you ride like this. I first upgraded to a set of no-name handguards with metal reinforced plastic. They were better than the stock ones, but eventually they bent as well. Right now I'm running Polysport handguards, including a model made for the CFMOTO. So far they have been great and have survived a lot of abuse. Finally, some small parts. A reflector came loose and broke from impacts over time. Completely non-critical, just part of riding off-road. So, after the first 7,000 kilometers of real off-road riding, this is what actually broke on my CFMOTO 450 empty. Nothing catastrophic, no major failures. Most of this comes down to protection, geometry and how you ride the bike, not poor quality. For me, this confirms the 450 MT as a solid base if you want to build a capable adventure bike and ride it hard off-road. If you are riding mostly gravel, you will probably never see these issues. But if you are riding rocks, logs and technical terrain, these are the areas I'd paid attention to. Please let me know in the comments what you broke on your bike and what you'd like me to test or upgrade next. And don't subscribe unless you actually care about real off-road riding and honest ownership. Then this channel might be for you. Ride safe, see you in the next one.